My manager said, follow the rules exactly, or else. So I did. It cost the company $40,000 in 1 week. Okay, so this happened about 2 years ago, but I still think about it all the time, and I finally feel like enough time has passed that I can tell the full story without getting in trouble. I worked at a mid sized logistics company, doing scheduling and dispatch for delivery trucks. Nothing glamorous, but I was good at it. I'd been there almost 4 years, and over that time, I built up a pretty solid system in my head. All the little shortcuts and judgment calls that made the job actually work. Things like knowing which drivers could handle a tight window and which ones couldn't, knowing when to bend a delivery rule slightly because the customer had a good reason, knowing which warehouse manager actually meant it when he said, call me anytime, versus which one just said that to sound nice. Then we got a new regional manager. Let's call him Gary. Gary was the kind of guy who'd read a management book over the weekend and show up Monday acting like he'd discovered fire. Within his first 2 weeks, he decided that the whole department was, in his words, too loose with procedure. He didn't like that I made judgment calls. He didn't like that drivers sometimes called me directly instead of going through the official ticket system. He wanted everything by the book, every single time, no exceptions, no shortcuts, nothing done based on experience or common sense. I actually tried to explain to him, politely, that some of those shortcuts were the only reason deliveries ran smoothly. I told him there were specific situations where following the exact written procedure would actually cause delays instead of preventing them. He looked at me, dead serious, and said, and I remember this word for word because it stuck with me. If it's not in the procedure, I don't want you doing it. Follow the rules exactly, or don't do the job at all. So, I did exactly that. The very next Monday, a regular customer called in a request the way she always did, informally over the phone, asking if we could push her delivery window back 2 hours because her receiving dock wasn't ready yet. Normally, I'd just quietly adjust it, no big deal, done in 30 seconds. This time, I told her very politely that all schedule changes needed to be submitted through the official request form and approved through the proper channel, which took, per Gary's new procedure, 48 hours minimum. She was confused. I apologized and told her I was simply following updated company policy. Her delivery came in during a closed dock window and got rejected. That was a $12,000 order. Then there was the driver who normally called me directly when he hit traffic so I could quietly shuffle his other stops around. Official procedure said any schedule disruption had to be logged through Dispatch Central and reviewed before any changes were made. So when he called me stuck in traffic, I told him I couldn't make any changes without an approved disruption report. By the time that got approved, he'd missed 3 delivery windows in a row. 2 of those customers had strict penalty clauses for missed windows. By Wednesday, I was fielding calls all day from confused clients, and every single time I gave the same calm answer. I'm following the procedure exactly as instructed. I have to go through the proper channel for any changes. By Thursday, Gary was standing at my desk, looking a little pale, asking why deliveries were suddenly falling apart everywhere. I looked him dead in the eye and said, I'm following the rules exactly, like you asked. No exceptions, no shortcuts, nothing outside procedure. He didn't have a great response to that, because technically, I was right, and he knew it. By the end of that week, the department had racked up something close to $40,000 in missed penalty clauses, rejected deliveries, and rush shipping fees to fix problems that never would have existed if I'd just been allowed to make one quiet phone call here and there like I always had. Friday afternoon, upper management pulled Gary into a meeting. I wasn't in the room, but from what I heard afterward, it did not go well for him. The following Monday, I got called in separately, and I was fully expecting to get blamed for it. Instead, my director asked me to walk him through exactly what had changed that week. So I explained it. Word for word, I told him what Gary had said. Follow the rules exactly or don't do the job at all. I told him I did exactly what I was told, nothing more, nothing less. He didn't say much in the meeting. He just nodded, wrote something down, and told me I could go back to doing the job the way I used to do it. Gary was reassigned to a different department about 3 weeks later. I never heard exactly why, officially, but I have a pretty strong guess. Nobody ever told me I was in trouble. Nobody ever brought it up again. And the funniest part is, I never once broke a rule that whole week. I followed every single one exactly the way I was told to. I just stopped using the years of experience that used to quietly fix problems before they became expensive ones. So if there's a lesson in this story, I think it's this. If you have someone on your team who's been doing the job well for years, maybe don't assume the reason things run smoothly is despite them ignoring the rule book. Sometimes the reason things run smoothly is exactly because of it. Update, for anyone wondering, I still work there. Gary does not. And to this day, nobody has ever told me to follow the rules exactly again.